Welcome to Storytime with Sugar. Today we're reading Grandma's Chocolate. When I opened the door, Grandma was there. After a big hug, I said, "I'm so glad to see you." I took her hand and led her to the room where she stays when she visits. "What's in your suitcase this time, Grandma?" I asked. "Surprises from Mexico, Sabrina," Grandma replied. Her yellow suitcase was covered with round and square stickers from the places she had visited. Grandma lifted the heavy suitcase and put it on the bed. "Open it carefully. It's so full of gifts it might explode," she said, laughing. It was like opening a treasure chest. There were colorful ribbons, a whistle, a drum, and the strong smell of chocolate. "I brought you some games that your mama liked to play when she was your age," she said. "Can we play music, Grandma?" I asked. "I like this drum." "Pum-pum-pum-pum," I said as I marched with my new drum. Grandma played the clay whistle. It was shaped like a dove. Grandma always liked birds. She said birds sing the songs of the clouds and they are the messengers from the earth to the sky. "I like playing with you, Grandma," I said and gave her a hug. Grandma took the colorful ribbons from her suitcase. I sat on the edge of the bed while she wove the green, white, and red ribbons into my hair, first on one side and then the other. When she finished, I looked at myself in the mirror. She had braided my hair into 2 braids and tied them over my head. I told her I looked like one of the Mayan princesses that she often talked about on her visits. "Grandma, do you want to play a game? Let's pretend that I'm a princess." "Okay, Sabrina," she said as she looked into the suitcase again. "But a Mayan princess should wear a beautiful hoople." "What is a hoople, Grandma?" "A hoople is a traditional blouse worn by Mayan and Aztec women. They still wear them today. Some are woven and some are embroidered," Grandma exclaimed. "Every region has a special design. When you put on this hoople, you will look like a Mayan princess." "Thank you, Grandma. It's beautiful." "Were there really Mayan princesses?" I asked. "Yes, Sabrina. There were both Mayan and Aztec princesses with black hair and dark eyes like yours," she said. "Many years ago, our ancestors had palaces in gold and great plantations of cacao." "What is cacao?" I asked. "The cacao is a tree and its seeds give us the chocolate we enjoy today. The Olmecs and Mayas were the first to make chocolate," she said. That afternoon, we went to the market to buy groceries. At the market, I asked Grandma, "Did Mayan princesses have money?" "Yes. In those times, cacao seeds were used for money. Cacao seeds were so important that the Mayas even had a god of cacao named Echua," Grandma said. "Grandma, if I was a Mayan princess, what could I buy with cacao?" "You could buy a turkey or a rabbit with 100 cacao seeds. A baby rabbit was only 30 seeds. A turkey egg was 3 seeds. And a big tomato was 1 cacao seed." The next day when Grandma walked with me to school, I asked, "Grandma, did Mayan princesses go to school?" "Of course," she replied. "All the children of Mayan rulers had to learn how to read and write. You could be like them." "The first word that I would learn to write would be cacao," I told her as she left me at the school gate. After school, Grandma took me to have an ice cream at the Frozen Cone. She would be leaving the following morning. I ordered a scoop of chocolate. "Grandma, did princesses have chocolate ice cream?" "Well, they say that the emperor of the Aztecs, Montezuma II, liked chocolate poured over bowls of snow brought to him from the high mountains." "Wow, like a snow cone," I said. Mayan princesses also drank hot chocolate. They used to serve it in clay cups called jarros, Grandma said. "How did they make it?" I asked. "They ground up the cacao seeds on a hot metate and mixed the paste with water," she explained. "The taste was a little bitter, so they sweetened it with honey, and sometimes they used flowers, allspice, chile, or vanilla for flavoring. They made a topping of foam on the chocolate drink by pouring it back and forth from one container to another. This was always part of the ritual of serving chocolate," she said. "Chocolate is perfect for a Mayan princess," I said. Once we were back home in the kitchen, I sat down at the table with Mama. Grandma brought out a box shaped like a hexagon. "Look, Sabrina, chocolate from Mexico," Mama said. "Cacao," I said with a smile. Grandma opened the package and took out a tablet of Mexican chocolate. She broke it in pieces with several loud noises. Clack, clack. She picked up several large chunks. Mama and I nibbled at the crumbs that were left over. I helped Grandma fill a pot with milk. She turned on the stove and warmed the milk. As it was heating, she dropped in the pieces of chocolate. She stirred the milk to keep it from burning. "Look, Do you see how the mixture darkens as the chocolate melts? Please hand me the jars, Sabrina, said Grandma. I handed Grandma 2 of the large cups from the cupboard. Mama and I watched as Grandma poured the hot chocolate back and forth in the cups. This is how the Mayas and Aztecs made the delicious foam. Nowadays, many people use a molinillo, said Grandma. Mama and I smelled the cacao aroma before taking a sip. I liked the feeling of the foam in my mouth. Yummy, I said. As we savored the chocolate, we toasted our ancestors, one for the Olmecs, another one for the Mayas, and one more for the Aztecs, and we toasted the great discovery of chocolate. In the morning, we took Grandma to the airport. I handed her a drawing that I had made of a big cacao tree. I found it in Mama's encyclopedia. Thank you, Sabrina, Grandma said. This picture is a perfect memory of my visit. I was sad that Grandma was leaving. Grandma, I said, I'll miss you. You're leaving too soon. I don't want you to go. I know, Sabrina, she said. I'll miss you too. But I will think of you always, especially whenever I drink hot chocolate. Will you do the same for me?